Hello and welcome to the Comic Conspiracy, episode 345 for the week of February 27th, 2018. My name is Ryan Higgins. Who's here with me this week?
Brock Sager, who loves it when you actually read what episode and date it is right before you record so you remember it.
When would you like me to look at date and episode, Brock? Hours beforehand? So
Hours beforehand. Be prepared. Super prepared.
I would forget hours beforehand, so I double check just before recording, so I say the proper
still forget sometimes.
Episode and date.
That's why it goes 3.
Who else?
3, 4.
Because I'm moving down to see the date. Who is next to Brock?
Jim Jokisch.
Jim, hello.
Scott Shea.
Hello, Scott.
And Charlie.
Scott and Charlie are back.
Oh, we almost had a full first name, last name podcast. Way to ruin it, Charlie.
Charlie doesn't throw the West around lightly.
I do sometimes, but
lightly.
Not very often.
It carries weight in gold. He's just, gold, people, gold.
He doesn't need to carry any weight or gold. He's just big anyway.
Now,
stomp you with his fist.
Scott and Charlie, you're not here last week for Doctor Who. Sorry, Doctor Who's on the TV.
I was not here for this Doctor Who podcast.
We're talking about Doctor Who.
Huge Doctor Who podcast, Charlie.
Scott insulted Doctor Who. Charlie beat him to a pulp, and now we started recording the podcast. For the big Black Panther talk. It's been out for, at this point, a week and change, or 2 weeks, right? I figure everyone's seen it. They want to see it, so we'll talk briefly about it. Wanted to hear your guys' opinion on the movie. Be aware of those spoilers. If you care, give us 15 minutes or so to talk about Black Panther here. Scott and Charlie, I want to get your take, though, and then we'll talk briefly about the box office and a bunch of stuff, because it's had some new
development.
Yeah.
So who's going first?
You put down your Marvel Puzzle Quest, and one of you just start talking. You're on a podcast.
I can talk and do Puzzle Quests. It's amazing that way.
Please just talk.
So, I enjoyed Black Panther. It was a good movie, but I did have one thing that occurred to me when I came out of it.
What's that?
I don't have that scene. I don't have that key scene that jumped off the page. There wasn't that one.
I think we all kind of agreed with that.
One scene that kind of took me back to the movie instantly. So it was a good, solid movie, but there wasn't the one scene that grabbed me. I don't have a favorite scene in this movie, which is really weird.
Give an example. What's your favorite scene of your favorite Marvel movie?
Well, whenever I think back to Winter Soldier, I always think back to catching the shield when Captain America throws it. Avengers, you always think of the group shot, or Age of Ultron when you get the group shot again
Civil
with
War,
all the.
It's Ant-Man grabbing War Machine out of the sky.
Oh, that whole combat with Civil War, with Spider-Man showing up and Underoos and
the scene in Ant-Man where he's listening to Disintegration by The Cure, of course, classic scene.
Exactly.
That's for Scott.
Love it.
But
I think it was for you.
It was for us.
I don't have that with the Black Panther movie. Now, mind you, I don't have I've I've read a lot of books with Black Panther in it, but I've never read a lot of I've rarely read any of the Black Panther solo titles. So I'm wondering if that's part of it, where I don't have something that just immediately struck something that I had read in a comic
You
before.
didn't like Battle Rhinos?
I didn't consider that a huge turning point or anything of the movie for me. It was neat, but yeah, again, there wasn't that one scene that really stole the movie for me.
I went with a bigger group on Thursday on opening night.
You came with us.
Yeah, I came out and I liked it. It was probably a B plus for me. I saw it again on Sunday with another friend, and from whatever, it just clicked for me. Things made sense all the way through the second time. And I really loved the different messages. I liked the costumes. I liked the different tribes within Wakanda. I liked the battle between the original Wakandans, that they want to stay separate from the rest of the world. I loved I liked Eric Killmonger's outside. The things that you guys talked about last week about how things switched and maybe his friend turned on him too fast, and I just saw Killmonger the minute he rescued him, pulled him out. You're like, that's the guy that's in charge. I got that. I read through that backstory myself in my head. So that all made sense, and it was very streamlined. His friend turning on him and siding with Killmonger. There's just a few things that he said in the lead up that I took for granted as just conversation between two friends. And the second time through, the harshness of some of those things he said kind of poked out a little bit. I did talk to a friend of mine who's a social psychologist just last week, and she was like, yeah, I mean, there's so many people that are seeing this over again. It's impacting on this level, and it just makes you think of the layers that the director put into costumes, culture, dialogue. And I just found it to be really, really good. I mean, it's still just top 5 for me, just like just about everybody here. It's top 5 Marvel movie. It's not my favorite, but it is. I mean, I loved it.
That is definitely one thing I would say. Going into this movie, I kind of felt at first this whole idea of, okay, first we kind of had all the attention on Wonder Woman and everything it said. Now we have Black Panther, and there was a part of me that just didn't really get a lot of that attention, especially on Black Panther. Like I kind of understood the importance of people being able to see themselves on the screen, but I don't think I fully understood the impact it would have in terms of the culture and how well they would sort of communicate certain things, and how it became much more of a celebration of that culture until I saw the movie and really saw how much of that culture was fed into the movie, because I didn't really get that prior to seeing it.
I love thinking back and thinking about kind of the side somebody asked me, well, were you on the side of Wakanda or Killmonger, in that you want to completely keep the technology and knowledge separate, or you completely want to use the technology to take over? Now, obviously, that's the crux of the conflict in the movie, and everything's usually somewhere in the middle, like it was at the end. But how do you feel as a person? Where are you? Would you use it to control, or will you just stay totally separate? And I feel like that's a question that not many movies ask.
But, and not to be too Star Trek about it, but that's what the whole Prime Directive is.
Yep.
It's the whole, you don't go out there and give people technology that they're not ready for.
Yeah.
And a large part of this argument was the fact that society as a whole was getting closer and closer to their technology level.
Mm-hmm.
So it is that question of, when do you step out of the shadows and be like, okay, are they actually ready to interact with us on this level now without
and I agree.
blowing up the planet?
And I agree. It doesn't have to be, use the technology to take control or stay hidden.
Right.
It doesn't have to be one or the other. Those are very, very solid, decisions right there. Whereas at the end of the movie, he's, okay, we're going to slowly, help out with the world and give you, try and help you with our advances.
What can you help us with?
Exactly. So I look forward to what's going to happen afterwards. What they're going to happen in the Marvel Universe as far as the technology goes.
And Killmonger's one of the best villains.
Oh my
Not
God.
worse.
There we go.
As far as the technology, I mean, I can't affect it doing too much, right? I mean, that's sort of the problem with all comic book things, is that the technology doesn't actually become an everyday usage for regular people.
Anything that Reed builds or Tony builds, or
it wouldn't work, right?
Batman uses.
Anything this movie sets up,
I'd like some of his wonderful toys.
It won't really get put into any sort of application in any Marvel movie. Maybe a thing or two here or there, but you're not going to see people. You're not going to see like the entire world is going to turn into Wakanda overnight.
Oh,
so.
no, not even close.
But yeah.
So there you go. Not even any arguments this time around.
No.
I mean, I don't think there's any argument to have. I think people misunderstood or misrepresented what I was saying last week. I think it's a really good movie. I don't think it's perfect, but I like it. I don't think Killmonger's a bad villain either. I don't know where people got that from.
I think it's the best that you just think everything's just negative. I think it's the best, but you don't. Not in real life. I've known Ryan for so long. He's much more polarizing on our podcast than he is in real life. You wouldn't really want to punch him.
The problem,
unless you didn't like grown-up goth guys.
I mean, this is just
head.
an extension. This is just an extension of internet culture. Of everything has to be a 1 or a 10. There can't be anything in between. And because I didn't think it was a 10, that means people assumed I thought it was a 1, which is totally not true. I think it's a really good movie.
You had it, what, 6th?
In the MCU?
Yeah. Oh, you said it was. You said a couple of the Thor movies.
I mean, it was like 9 or 10.
That's just.
It was like 9,
bad
maybe.
Taste.
Even though, but the argument was ridiculous last week because
I still liked them all.
All of us liked the movie.
Yeah,
all of us
everybody
enjoyed
did.
Yeah, we nitpicked a little bit of things, but we're gonna nitpick some little things. And for each one of us, we have our particular things we look for in the movies, and we're going to pick on those. But still, it's a good movie. It's a really solid movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
How much money says it is a good movie these days, Ryan? What's our box office?
Yeah.
So,
Topic number 1.
so this
Nice segue.
broke is the second fastest film ever to 400 million domestically, beating Jurassic World, which means it beat Avengers.
That's insane.
To that number. It is the 5th highest grossing title domestically in the MCU. It may have already passed Civil War and Iron Man 3. Let me see. Those are 408 and 409, so it may be the 3rd highest grossing MCU movie already. It's 411 as of today, as of recording. 411 million domestic, so it's the 3rd highest grossing behind. It must be Avengers and Avengers 2.
That's fantastic. I mean, it's
unreal,
great.
right?
It did 111 million second weekend, which is that's Star Wars numbers.
That's crazy.
And I believe that beat Last Jedi's second weekend too. It did. I mean, it beat everyone except for Jurassic World. So huge numbers. We haven't had an update in foreign numbers. A 316 current. I think it's been that way for a little bit. So I think in the next few days we'll get a bump from the foreign numbers. It should break $1 billion. I don't know what the domestic. It should top 500 million domestically, and I think it'll get another 500 million foreign. So it should break $1 billion.
It's been the number 1 movie 2 weeks in a row, right?
It's going to be the number 1 movie for like 4 weeks in a row.
It's not done by a long shot.
No, I don't know what would come in the next few weeks.
I do kind of love the fact that Jumanji came out and was like number 1 for a long time, and Black Panther's already squished it, in terms of total.
Yeah. I mean, Death Wish and Red Sparrow come out this week.
Black Widow.
I mean, I think Red Sparrow could do okay, but I don't think they could beat it. And Wrinkle in Time's in 2 weeks, that'll beat it. I mean, obviously, Wrinkle in Time will beat its opening weekend will beat Black Panther's.
Really?
Should.
Wrinkle in Time will do really good. It's just.
Really?
I've never heard of it.
Sure. Never heard of Wrinkle in Time?
Nope.
I will not see it the opening weekend.
The Now movie?
Nope.
It's a kid's book. New movie has Oprah and a bunch of people.
I am. Like I said,
it depends on reviews, obviously.
I feel like if
I'm curious
Oprah's
about it.
in it, it should be on Oprah's channel. I just don't.
Well, I mean, it's got
She
a
can
lot
branch
more
out.
than Oprah in it, but I mean, it's just the latest in the sort of big budget family movie that's going to do well.
Yeah.
Well, and Wrinkle in Time is
It's a very classic kids book.
Very, very classic kids book. YA.
Well, isn't it a series of books?
I'm going to push everybody to go see it spread out over the first 2 weeks. Do not go see it.
So we got March and April to get through, and
then the 13th is Tomb Raider. So I mean that'll. If somehow Wrinkle in Time does not beat Black Panther, I don't see how that's possible. But Tomb Raider will, so one of those two will beat it. So.
And then May.
So Black Panther, huge numbers still, crazy numbers. I guarantee you,
Deadpool 2.
I guarantee you, Marvel, the people at Marvel Studios just did this across their table and just wiped everything off the board. They're like, Black Panther 2 coming out in 2019. Get everything else off the table. If Captain Marvel, then
Marvel
another
now,
fuck
3.0.
Avengers 4, Black Panther 2. All right, because of our problems recording a few weeks ago, and then because of our Black Panther episode last week, we are very behind we have to cover our January 2018 comic book sales to North American comic book shops. This is Diamond Comics estimated sales charts. I like to play a little guessing game with all my boys here. So why don't you guys try to guess the top 10 comics sold to comic book stores, estimated units, of course, and in January.
Batman White Knight.
Batman White Knight, yes, number 7. Batman White Knight is the number 7 comic of January with 73,000 copies sold. Still incredible that book is doing that well. Just crazy.
Metal,
number 5. Yes.
I already looked. I know
that is
I
the
cheated.
Stop doing that. Is
You
the number
put
2.
it on the little thing.
That's for me. Metal is
Just don't do the link.
Metal is the number 2 comic of the month at 149,000
There's
copies.
2 that I was super surprised about on this list.
Well, we'll get to
Doomsday
those.
Clock's on there.
Doomsday Clock is the number 1 book, issue number 3 of Doomsday Clock, at 157,000 copies.
Those are great covers, though.
Oh, yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Batman
38 and 39 are on there. The number 3 and 4 comics. Batman's got
is it
3 of
number
the top
5
4.
that this is the surpriser for me?
98,000 and 94,000 copies for Batman.
It's like number 5 and number 8. Is that it?
Well, I don't know. We'll get to it.
Come on, guys.
What else is in the top 10?
Have we named any Marvel yet?
No, but
Amazing
there's
Spider-Man?
There's a couple. Technically, Amazing Spider-Man, Venom Inc., Omega. It's the back half of the Spider-Man Venom crossover book. They did 2 one-shots, and the Omega issue did chart top 10. The number 8 spot is 63,000 copies. Well, I mean, they sold really well for us.
Yeah.
We sold a lot of variant covers. So yeah, makes sense.
I'm out. I don't know.
Star Wars.
No Star Wars.
Oh,
in the
they
top
were right
10.
outside.
They were 11 and 12, 11th spot and 12th spot.
No, it's
Yep.
number 5 that I was like, wow, is The
Avengers?
Walking Dead
Avengers.
really on there?
Well, Avengers 675 is on there. That's the first part.
appearance
That's the lenticular cover. No. 676 is her first appearance.
Okay.
But 675, which is the first part of the No Surrender story
Right.
arc, the weekly Avengers comic, lenticular cover, open order as many copies as you want, and retailers did 79,000 copies.
No, it was number 5.
Yes,
The
Walking Dead. Yeah, Walking Dead is in the top 10 every month.
Every month?
Pretty much.
Not every month.
No, it hasn't been for the last like 3 or 4 months.
It's usually in the top 10.
This was like
it's
a number 175.
175. It had the first of the variant covers.
Yeah, it's the first story arc, too. I think it was a part 1.
And they're doing it 12 months with a Bill Sienkiewicz variant covers every month. So this is the first part. 82,000 copies for Walking Dead.
Is that all of them?
We got 2 more, number 9 and 10. Both number 1s. One's from Marvel, one's from DC.
Savage Dragon.
No.
Eric Larson finally
also-
renumbered?
Also not from Marvel or
Yes.
DC.
Oh, wow.
One of these I'm very surprised is on the top.
Which is the Jim Lee?
No.
No.
Damage?
No.
Damage was Damage in January?
I have no idea.
I don't know. This list is weirding me
Amazing
out because
Spider-Man?
I feel like 675
No.
is super old.
No, Damage is down.
Oh, was it
44
Batman and the
spot.
Signal?
Batman and Signal.
Yep.
Number 1 is on
And
there.
this was the
62,000
big
copies.
surprise.
And that's the number 9 comic. Now, the thing with Batman and Signal, it's marketed as a metal tie-in. Or like a metal like aftermath thing. I mean, it's not. I mean, it kind of is, but it's not.
It happens after Metal. That's pretty much it.
Like all of these. Stop cheating! What's wrong with you?
I'm not cheating.
Okay, well, I'll read the number 10. As with all these.
Oh, I know.
Can I
Age
guess?
of Heroes
Jim knows.
titles.
Jim knows.
As
I
with,
guess?
hold on. As with all these Age of Heroes titles, they very loosely have anything to do with metal. I'm really blown away that the book. I don't think number 2 will be quite that high because I mean, we sold pretty well, but I didn't go crazy on this book. I did not sell that many copies of number 2. I think people misunderstood what this title was, and I think some retailers ordered it not realizing that it wasn't really a metal thing. I felt that's a
Talking
little.
about Signal, right?
So
Yeah, it's a
wasn't-
weird. DC marketed that weirdly. I think they screwed up. The number 10 book, Old Man Hawkeye, number 1, Marvel.
That was Jim's guess.
That was my guess.
Shut up. 57,000 copies, and that's definitely a case of lots of variant covers because I don't expect number 2 will be anywhere close to that. But yeah, that's a pretty low top 10. I mean, January was an okay month. We've had.
Doomsday Clock 3 was at 130 some?
57.
157. I mean, that's high, and then you get down to the bottom, and it's 60.
Yeah,
It dropped
under
off pretty
60,000 for a top 10 book. That's rough.
Everybody's broke in January after Christmas and New Year's.
Well, Phoenix Resurrection didn't pop into the
Yeah,
top 10,
yeah.
which I was surprised about.
Yeah, Wolf of 4 and 5. Yeah. 3, 4, and 5. Or 2, 3, 4, and 5. Number 1 did. Number 1 was
Yeah.
huge.
Right, big.
But that's variant covers, and that's what happens. So, yeah, we have, that 30 to 40,000 copies tends to be kind of right there in the middle, like the majority of the mid of the pack and the top 100. So, there's, they're still doing well. It's a very sharp drop from the top, and it levels out very quickly. Rare month, DC just flat beat Marvel on units shipped, 38.94% to 36.69% to Marvel. Image has 8.23%, and the rest of the companies take
Your
up the
cash
remainder.
drawer needs Marvel to bounce back big time.
Yeah, and our Marvel numbers have been up. We'll talk more about Marvel a little later in the podcast. Overall dollar amount, Marvel beats DC by 0.5% when it comes to the dollar, 34.3% to 33.8%. So Image going up a bit, almost 10% of the dollar share. I wonder if that's the.
They had a bunch of number ones coming out in January.
Well, and it could be the graphic novels.
This
is everything, right? This is the entire chart. This isn't comics. Now, items in the top 300. This is where it gets interesting because DC had 103 books in the top 300, which is high for them, and Marvel at 84. So we're starting to see a bit of a switch. DC has been pushing out a little more material. Marvel's been a little more reserved. That's usually not how it is. And of course, if you go to the actual unit share of the top 300 comics sold, DC is at 44.67% of the market. Marvel's 39.31%. So much different number when you look at the actual top 300. They're beating them a little bit overall. Top 300, DC's got a good 5% on them, which is pretty big. But they're dead even for dollar share. 41.94 for Marvel, 41.74 for DC. So basically even. So big month. And I don't know if a lot of this stuff, because DC only released 89 comics in the top. I think a lot of the numbers here in the top 300 for DC, I think these are reprints because they've reprinted all the metal stuff, and I think they all charted in the top 300.
Well, Mr. Miracle had some reprints going on.
I'm looking at Red Death, Metal 3, Dawnbreaker, Metal 1, Murder Machine, all those reprints all charted in the top 300.
Do reprints normally make it into the top 300?
If they sell 8,000 copies,
I'm wondering how rare that is. Because, there are definitely books that, like, Batman Annual number 2 wouldn't surprise me because
that was
nobody ordered it in sort of normal high book numbers because it was an annual. But I would think reprints would only see huge numbers typically when it felt like they were massively underproduced for the first printing.
So Doomsday Clock number 2 was the 141st book.
Wow.
That's just the first. That's just reorders of the first print, right?
Reorders of the first print.
Yeah. That beat Superwoman, Injustice 2, Snagglepuss, Bombshells, Injustice, Ragman, Future Quest, New Superman, Motherlands. That book just straight
Snagglepuss has been awesome.
Beat Astro City, Black Lightning. Okay, so the Batman Annual Charlie, second prints, 88,000 copies, the 192nd book of the month. These are just flat beats. Blue Beetle, Cyborg.
Yeah.
White Knight reprint. 84,000 copies, 203rd comic.
Was that the Harley one?
Yeah. That's the red one that I have over there. Which fucking bait and switch on that shit. They solicited that cover, and it was a black and white cover. It shipped red. Pissed me off. I would have sold way more if it was black and white.
Yeah, I would have been. You would have sold more.
Yep. Oh, and the Teen Titans 12 reprint from like 4 months ago.
The metal tie-in one?
215.
Finally?
Yeah. So, DC cleaned up the 20 spots in the top 300 that were all reprints. It could be very interesting going into the rest of the year. I don't know what it's going to look like. DC's got a lot going on. Marvel obviously has a lot going on. And
Marvel's fresh new stuff.
We'll get into that.
I think it's time to start talking about that.
Okay, prep yourselves. Prep yourselves.
Despite what Scott says, I'm actually a positive guy.
You know when you have to preface something with that? You know you're not.
I'm actually...
It's a little tough. Marvel's a little tough sometimes.
Man, your dialogue.
After Legacy, we thought Legacy was it, right?
Yeah.
We thought Legacy was going to be...
We hoped.
Legacy was going to be it. No more relaunches, nothing. For months. For
no
years,
events for
forever.
18 months.
Yeah. No relaunches, nothing.
No relaunches, nothing. 18 months. We're going to do just making comics.
We bit that bait like a big mouth bass. There's just no...
Legacy started rough. Right? Obviously, there was the ordering problems with the lenticular covers. You guys remember that. Yeah. There was a lot of problems with the creative teams just being the exact same creative teams. I mean, I have to go pull out my list, but a good... At least 25% of Marvel's line was canceled after less than 6 issues of all these Legacy titles, right?
Yep.
So whatever they started with at Legacy did not click. Axel Alonso, the editor-in-chief, he mutually parted ways with Disney. That's a good way of saying he was fired.
It felt like they just came up with the Legacy title and...
They did.
And there's nothing else behind. There's like, we'll figure it out as we go.
So it's kind of funny because they lose Bendis. They bring in what's his name?
CB
Cebulski, who had his own baggage that he comes with. Just hit after hit after hit after Marvel of all these PR nightmares. But something weird started happening the last few months for Marvel. Avengers No Surrender comes out. Starts selling out weekly, selling out. Reprints. Right around the same time, Thanos, Donny Cates, taking over. The numbers start going up. People start getting into it. His Doctor Strange, same thing. He starts getting some heat. Amazing Spider-Man, Dan Slott's wrapping up his run. He brings back Norman Osborn. There starts to be some heat there with Carnage starting to be in the book. People love Carnage. Put Carnage in the comic and have it actually be Carnage, not whatever the hell they've done with Carnage in the last decade. Have it be like actual Carnage, and people kind of eat this stuff up. Everyone that was under ordering Marvel, including myself, we were starting to sell out of every issue of this stuff. So all of a sudden, boom, 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 a little bit of heat on some of these Marvel books, which is great. It was great to hear.
Also combining the characters as well.
Yeah. So this starts with Weapon H. This starts with the Hulk Wolverine thing that went on during Weapon X comic.
Weapons of Mutant Destruction.
Punisher, War Machine.
Now we have Punisher gets War Machine armor. You have Space Ghost Rider, which is Punisher, Cosmic Ghost Rider.
Yep.
Yeah, you have Carnage and Norman Osborn. All right, so Red Goblin.
Coming soon.
So these are all like, while this seems like a lot kind of happening all at once, these feel like, I kind of see like this is kind of like classic Marvel stuff, right?
There was other things like Marvel 2-in-1 started to gain some traction.
Oh, Marvel 2-in-1 launch, very good. Yeah, we sold out 1 and 2. I've been bumping 3, bumped my numbers for 4. X-Men Red, Phoenix Resurrection was very strong. X-Men Red first issue sold really well. So yeah.
Thor's been doing consistent.
Yep, Thor's been fine. Daredevil's picking up a few numbers coming up, a few sales coming in the 600.
Even though we didn't quite enjoy the bandwagon that we jumped on for the Legacy, it took them a little while, but they felt like they were turning it around finally.
Right.
It really felt. Yeah. I mean, I was jumping on. I bought Avengers. I haven't bought Avengers forever. I bought Moon Knight. I bought Punisher. I bought just Amazing Spider-Man, which I haven't touched forever. I'm glad these Marvel titles are doing so well. And then...
No and then.
So
there is an end then.
Marvel starts to gain a little heat finally after years. And what do they decide to do? Well, it's time for a fresh start.
Fuck that.
Punch in the face.
So 11 or 12. I believe it's 12. 12 Marvel comics over the course of the next... It's only a couple of months, apparently, so who knows how long this is going to take. The big books are all getting renumbered, relaunched.
Just start them all, or stop them all, or let them keep going. Stop with the only a couple books. It's ridiculous.
So we have
Do the whole thing or none of it.
I can't discuss the specifics
Jesus.
of the retailer forums. But this is a conversation going on in both the Marvel and DC retailer forums right now. basically because we don't know exactly what's going on with all the Justice League titles, with the Superman stuff, right? I mean, but we know that at least Superman's getting renumbered, and I don't know exactly what's going on with Justice League, but it smells to me like they're going to relaunch all the Justice League books again. And so this conversation was already going on in the DC page. Basically, retailers, myself included, being like, "For the love of God, don't do this! You've got good numbers."
As a guy who does back issues, stop fucking renumbering.
So we have, and I'm like, and this is no, and I want to make this very clear. This has nothing to do with the content, the creators. This is simply to do with stop. These events don't work anymore. Stop them. Mm-hmm. You did exactly what you needed to do with Legacy. You put the numbering back where it was. But you took a little bit, but it got some heat. People are paying attention again with Marvel. You're not going to get new readers with a new number one. So here's what happened. The second this goes out, the Marvel retailer forum is fucking just aflame of people being like, for the love of God, Marvel, don't do this. A few hours later, a message goes up on there that's like, oh, by the way, they're also going to have Legacy numbering on them as well. They realize they fucked up, but they're making it even worse because it's going to say Avengers number 1, Legacy 691. Yeah. Like, we've done this before. It's stupid. Just keep the goddamn original numbering. Now, if you want to say Avengers 691, Avengers Fresh Start Part 1, Earth's Mightiest Heroes, fine. The graphic novel can be called Avengers Fresh Start, Earth's Mightiest Heroes Volume 1, fine. But just keep the comic, the goddamn numbering that you've had it. Just stop. You renumbered everything. Don't do this again.
Well, I believe you were featured on a thing on Nerdist.
Oh, yeah.
Where your
fun.
wonderful tweet, which was actually corrected and added later.
Yes.
It's been, what, 8 fresh start?
Yeah, we've had
8 since 2012?
We've had a relaunch every single year.
But there's been like 8.
Yeah, every single year since
2012.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, that's excessive.
So we have Avengers number 1.
It's just not it's like a soft relaunch, though. It's painfully cautious every time.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
So let's go down these titles. This is all that we have so far, right? With one of them being announced today. Avengers number 1 by Jason Aaron and Ed McGuinness. This is going to pick up the events from Legacy. It's going to deal with the Avengers BC 1 million. This all sounds awesome. I'm going to handwrite Avengers 691 on the cover of all of these and change them in my point of sale system. And I'm just going to label over all of them. Be like, here's your Avengers 691. There is no number 1. This is 691. This is the comic. Just deal with it. I've ruined your comic. It's better now. Just read it.
You can actually just write in pen because pretty soon down the road,
9.
They'll just say all retailers just wrote 693 on here because they were so pissed off at Marvel, and it won't degrade the comic when you go to CGC it.
Yeah. So we have Black Panther number 1 by Ta-Nehisi Coates and Daniel Acuna. Now, the Black Panther comic has not sold traditionally well. Obviously, there's a big boost here for the movie.
Yeah.
Would have been nice if you're going to do this, do it when the movie comes out.
Yeah.
A Black Panther number 1 in May kind of does nothing, right? The Avengers book is going to be big. That's going to be big. Jason Aaron, obviously, their biggest writer coming over. Black Panther number 1, I'm sorry.
Well, Danny Coates has been writing it. Like, it's the same writer.
Ta-Nehisi Coates, but close.
Yeah. Sorry.
But it's, and Daniel Acuna is a good artist, but I don't foresee myself selling any more copies of this than the last Black Panther number 1 or the Black Panther before that.
You'll probably order the same numbers you order like Doctor Strange and Thanos.
Our Black Panther numbers now are really low. I don't stock it for the shelf. I haven't in months. I'll order a handful of extra copies because this is number 1. Again, you may get a handful, but I don't expect. Again, my orders for number 2 on all this stuff it's just what. Not down, just what we've already been selling. Because this mythical new reader doesn't care about number 1s. They're going to come in whenever they come in. We're going to hand them whatever we want. And if the book is good, it'll sell regardless of what the number is. People aren't buying it because it's a number. That did happen. That used to happen. The first time they did this. Not the 8th time they did this.
No.
That's the problem.
So I have a side question for you, actually. With the Black Panther movie, have you been selling a lot more Black Panther trades and stuff, or?
a lot more than we
I'm-
have previously. Yes,
I'm
but
just generally curious because I did have one or two people call specifically asking if we had like Black Panther comics on Sunday, which was nice.
Yes, more. Yes, still not a lot, but more.
But
yes.
are
But
those
how does that compare to like the Doctor Strange movie? Or I'm just wondering if the buzz around this has translated to more interest
more
than
than
you're used
normal.
to seeing from a.
More than normal, but it's still not very much.
Well, the other thing
That's
is
normally how this works. Is we
Yeah.
don't get a boost from the movies,
Well-
not for the specific
well,
book.
because the thing is there was really the Black Panther stuff. I think we saw an uptick in interest in Black Panther after we saw Civil War, and then after the movie came out, we saw a little bit more of an uptick. But is this going to trend for more sales? Are people going to come back and read this
Well,
stuff?
Some.
There is a certain reality to most of the time it's just a DC movie or a Marvel movie. Yes, you may get some people who wander and being like, I want to see this. But I do feel like when Wonder Woman came out, because of the intense attention on Wonder Woman, because of all the first it said, because of that overall attention, I do feel like you could sort of see Wonder Woman had a lot more attention even in comic shops than you've seen previously.
Well, I can tell you,
and I would assume Black Panther would see a similar kind of thing where it would go from a comic you don't even stock for the shelf to potentially having people specifically looking at the shelf right now.
Black Panther and Wonder Woman are a little different than Batman or Avengers. But with those type of characters, when a movie comes out or Justice League or something like that, there are so many books.
okay, so
Yeah.
I'm going to take.
With Black Panther, hold on. With Black Panther and Wonder Woman, there is despite there being a lot of Wonder Woman comics, there are very few collections to point people to. Black Panther has really only two major runs to speak of that are collected. It is slightly easier. So I have heard from some stores that they are selling Black Panther comics, other graphic novels like they're water. They're selling them by the cases. That is just not the case here, but that has never been the case here. We've never been a graphic novel traditional store.
The only times I remember working here that we had a huge uptick of sales from a movie was Watchmen. There was a lot of people coming in that were, I want to read this Watchmen thing and buying Watchmen. There was a lot going into that. And then there was also the one that was a failure on Marvel's part, and that was for Guardians of the Galaxy, because we had a ton of people coming in before the movie came out going, I'm curious about this Guardian stuff.
Stuff wasn't there.
What should I read? And we were like, well, you should read this, but they haven't collected it yet. And then 2-3 months after the movie comes out is when the book finally hits the shelves.
So Civil War, Infinity Gauntlet, those have sold really well in recent years because I think there was sort of the acknowledgement of the movies, but I think they would still sell well anyway. They're popular stories. The 3 times that we have seen beyond just a few token sales, like significant sales, we're talking triple-digit plus sales, have been for Watchmen, Scott Pilgrim, and Walking Dead. Mm-hmm. Those are the 3 times, in my experience as owning a comic book store, where a movie or a TV show, in the case of Walking Dead, has moved the needle significantly. Again, I'm going to sell Batman comics regardless if there's a Batman movie out or not. We're going to sell Avengers comics either way. Black Panther, I'm selling a few more Black Panther trades than normal, but I mean, I'll take it. But it's not like people are beating down a door to buy Black Panther trades. Let's move on to Venom, who's also getting a movie this year, and a new #1 by Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman. Now, here's a problem. We have Donny Cates writing Thanos. We have Donny Cates writing Doctor Strange. We have Donny Cates writing Venom. If Marvel loves something, they do it 4 or 5 times. So, I like Donny Cates. He's a good writer.
Black Panther?
Huh?
Or is it the other guy?
What is your problem?
Sometimes I don't hear you.
That's okay. I like Donny Cates, but man, when you start doing 4 or 5 books a month, we start
slipping.
seeing those cracks.
And we're not biased. We've said this about Jeff Johns.
We've said this about it. Well, they never gave Jeff Johns 4 books a month. Venom, again, has traditionally never been a great seller. It always has lots of great back issue sales. People seem to like Venom and come in once every 5 years and buy everything Venom related, but they're not here Wednesdays when the new books come out. Again, Stegman's a great artist. Donny Cates is a great writer. I think this will go up in sales a little bit, but does it need a new number one? Nah, I don't think so. Now, here's one where I'm actually kind of okay with it. I don't like it, but I'm more okay with that than the rest, and that's Thor. Jason Aaron and Mike Del Mundo are doing a new Thor title. It's called Thor number 1, not Mighty Thor, not anything else Thor.
Not Unworthy Thor, just Thor.
Just Thor. Now, again, I would prefer they just call it 607, 707.
No, 707.
707. I think 706 is the last part. It is a different character. It is the original Thor returned. Still, I would prefer they go to the Journey mystery numbering, but of all these, maybe. But now we're at what is it, Jason Aaron's 5th Thor number 1?
Yeah.
It's fucking, how ridiculous does this start to look?
I just love when you start getting into the omnibuses of this stuff, and it just is blah, blah, blah series 1 through 12, blah, blah, blah series 1 through 12,
yes.
blah, blah, blah series 1 through 12.
So
I was just going to say
annoying.
that. Collecting these, keeping them, in the right orders, how many number ones, how many different series.
So
it's
frustrating.
It's they renumber. So the prime example is we had God of Thunder, right? That was the big
Before
one. They ended Thor and they went with God of Thunder.
Well, they had relaunched Thor 3 times prior to that. You had the J. Michael Straczynski run that was renumbered back to the original, and then you had Matt Fraction's run. Did he have 2?
No, he only
Did
had
they
one.
redo his book? Oh no, it was during Matt Fraction's run it got renumbered.
Yeah, during
back.
Matt Fraction's run, I think it got renumbered.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And then it was when Jason Aaron picked it up.
Then it was God of Thunder.
It was God of Thunder, and then they renumbered it for
Then
when
it was Mighty Thor.
Mighty Thor when it's the female Thor.
Yeah.
And then it was renumbered 12 issues later, or just barely 12 issues later, with just Mighty Thor,
again.
right?
Yeah.
And then
now Legacy.
now
Thor.
Legacy, yeah. And so it's you're going back and forth and back and forth. And this is one of those titles that I'm going to look at and laugh my ass off when it says 707 number 1.
Yeah.
It's just make it 707.
Yeah. Now we come to the one today that I do have a real problem with. And this is The Immortal Hulk number 1 by Al Ewing and Joe Bennett. First of all, man, God bless Al Ewing, but that dude can't be on a book that lasts 12 issues. So
I think somebody said 16, right?
Good luck on your 16 issues of Immortal Hulk. It'll be canceled. It'll be canceled by summer 2019. But
Charlie's got something.
Unless they double ship.
No,
I think a lot of
I'm just picturing the Immortal Hulk book basically turn him into Kenny from South Park, and they just figure out a way to kill him every issue, and then it comes back the next issue.
Okay, calling the Hulk immortal, he already is immortal.
Yeah.
For all intents and purposes, you can't kill the Hulk.
So this is the thing: is it really feels like, all right, let's pick they're like, oh, we're bringing him back in Avengers No Surrender. I'm like, all right, fine, you're bringing him back in Avengers No Surrender. That's great. But we're going to call it immortal. Why are you changing the adjective in the freaking title?
And that is
just leave it as the Incredible Hulk.
Right. This should be Incredible Hulk 7 or 16 or whatever they're picking up because Amadeus Cho series is ending. You went from Totally Awesome Hulk to Incredible Hulk Legacy numbering to the Immortal Hulk. Again, fucking stop it. Stop it, Marvel.
But this is the thing.
Stop it.
So the article you linked us to, I read through it, and it says, we're going to put a backup story in, a 10-page backup story in one of the Avenger No Surrender books towards the end, right?
Yeah.
To get you all caught up and stuff like that. And then
Ewing did that during Legacy.
And the funny thing is, Ewing, right after that is said in the article, is quoted as saying, "Oh, you can just pick this up and start with it. You don't need anything else." Then why the fuck are you putting 10 pages in an Avengers book?
Well,
for a sales bump.
The thing with Thor too, I don't have the exact quote in front of me here, but
They like to Mad Lib their titles.
Their editor, oh god, why am I blanking on his name right now? This is killing me. Tom Brevoort. In the original quote for the Thor, he's like, "Oh yeah, and I'm sure by Thor 800 it'll just be back to a new title again." They need to stop.
It's terrible.
It's so. I mean, Scott, You are the perfect example of someone who used to buy, not every, but a vast majority of Marvel's output. And talk to the people listening. This is why you stopped.
This is why I stopped and why I'm... Look, I was the biggest... outside of Bryce, because he's the biggest proponent of all things Marvel at all times, regardless of whether it's good or not.
I've seen your old collection.
It's got tons of good stuff in it.
Your old collection does, but I've seen your 80s stuff and 90s
It has
stuff.
great stuff. Great. You don't know.
But keep going, proponent.
But it's... And I was really excited, just like you said, about everything that started coming out. They had just let it roll. And now they're doing what caused me not to want to buy comics from them again. Now, with this said, I just get whatever's good that week.
Yeah.
I don't have many Marvel saved books in my saver. I don't automatically buy Marvel books. I'll put them back more often than not. But it's just maddening.
Well, I think the other thing we haven't mentioned is the Wolverine's coming back.
Yeah.
Which was slated as a one-shot, oversized kind of nice, package. Will just boom, we're bringing him back. Here it is. I mean, because they teased us with the stuff out of in Legacy with it. So just giving this one-shot kind of boom out the gate. He's back. Has now turned into 17.
Yeah,
other books.
4 4-issue miniseries. You have the one shot, which leads into 4 4-issue miniseries. Why can't you just have the one shot and then Wolverine number 400 and something out the next month?
Yep.
And I was so hopeful with Legacy. I was so hopeful that they had finally turned a corner, and then Legacy happened, and it came out, and we're like, they just flat lied to our face, and I said this, and I said I didn't want to talk too much about before we really started to get into this, before they started really getting into the renumbering and all this stuff. I said I'm not going to talk about this because I've been so beaten down by Marvel from the retailing perspective that I mean
it's got to be just a beat down.
It's one thing when I'm angry. It's another thing when I've just given up because when I'm angry, I still care. I care because I'm angry. Or I'm angry because I care. I'm sorry. I'm at the point now where I just have given up.
You just give no fucks.
And that's the worst. That's the worst place for me to be as a retailer. They do everything in their power to make it difficult for me to sell comics. And that it makes them less money, it makes me less money, it makes my customers less happy because they're not getting titles they want. It is so incredibly hard for me to promote Marvel stuff, and it is baffling to me how bad they are at this.
It almost at times it almost feels like they go out of their way to ruin what is actually turning around.
Their goodwill, yeah.
It's where they are right now. I'm picking up at least a half a dozen Marvel books, not including the X-Men books, because I'm still collecting all the X-Men Blue, Gold, Red, and Cable and stuff like that. And
they're more than likely going to end and have Uncanny X-Men number 1 out and X-Men number 1 out.
And what, they're not going to return those to Legacy numbering like they said they would?
They didn't say shit about that.
Yeah, it's just...
Yeah.
You want to keep going. I mean, I want to keep going just because I want to see where it's going, but it's a train wreck. It really is. It's just getting horrible.
Every time, when we have Batman Hush, when we have Dark Knight, when we have Old Man Logan, when we have Civil War, like the tie-ins and stuff like that, when we have One More Day for Spider-Man, when we have a Dark Phoenix Saga, I mean, I can count story arcs from when they just did the new Dan Abnett, Steven Sedgwick art in Aquaman, right? They don't renumber after every single book. They did it in the past. A lot of companies, DC generally does it now. But don't get me wrong, I'm on DC's ass about this too. If they're going to have like 5 new JLA books and they renumber Teen Titans and they renumber Titans and we already know they're renumbering Superman, and if they start renumbering all this shit, like don't end Supergirl just to launch a new Supergirl the next month.
It should make sense.
It's maddening. So out of nowhere, they canceled the Cyborg book a few months ago. I'm sorry, they canceled the Cyborg book a few months ago. Out of nowhere, issue 21 is coming out. They're just like, we're just going to pick it back up a few months later with a new story arc and just continue the numbering. That's, I mean, cool. I'm not going to order anymore, but like, oh, okay. That's nice. Thank you. Mm-hmm. I don't know why, but all right.
Right. So just keep going.
Just keep going. Sure. Like, they're like, oh, we
liked it.
We put it on hiatus for a few months, and we're back.
Yeah,
sure.
we thought it was good.
Well, Marv Wolfman's writing it in a lot of the theories that he's going to roll him back into the Teen Titans and out of the Justice League, and that's going to be part of the big relaunch. So we'll see.
Good. You know, let's bring it back again. Who wants to write that? We got a spare writer. We got some extra paper. Let's put this thing out again.
It's been a year. We just give Marv Wolfman a new Raven series to do. It's fine.
21.
Yeah, sure. Why not? It hasn't been a year. It's been like 4 months.
We don't need
It's super weird.
We don't need no stinking ones.
Yeah. So at least they're not renumbering Action Comics. At least they're not renumbering Action. But I've let DC know. I've let the creators know. I've talked about it on the retailer forum. I talk about it publicly. DC, don't fucking renumber Superman. If you're going to do it with Justice League and you're going to do it with Teen Titans, don't do it. You have the numbering from Rebirth. Just keep it going.
Mm-hmm. Just keep it going.
If you're going to launch Justice League Extreme, that could be a new number 1. Sure. But don't replace Justice League with a Justice League Extreme with a new number 1 just to launch Justice League again in a year and a half. Like, just keep the goddamn book going. You can do all the little shit you want on the side. I don't care.
Think back to X-Men and X-Men 100 and going all the way through all the Byrne, Claremont, those. Yeah. How many different arcs did they go through?
Marvel would have renumbered every year and a half.
About every other freaking issue.
Yeah. Oh, God. I don't even want to think about Marvel renumbering in the 80s.
Dark Phoenix. I mean, Dark Phoenix Saga. Freaking Days of Future
I'm tearing
Past.
up right now. It's
painful. The Starjammers getting in with the Brood and everything.
The joke I made.
Hellfire Club. Yes, all that stuff.
The joke I made online.
So many freaking number 1s back in the day. And they didn't do it. They didn't have to. They just changed a little. They just put a note inside and keep on going.
The joke I made in the Marvel retailer forum was, I wonder if they secretly own Ultra Pro, the guys that make the comic book dividers. And they do this just to sell more comic book dividers. Because seriously, it's like, come on, for the love of God, stop this. Well, there's going to be like 8 more of these Marvel number 1s. Maybe they're listening. Maybe this won't actually happen. Maybe they'll better be.
If they're coming out, they better be amazing.
Yeah.
If they're even borderline, no.
Yeah.
Their track record doesn't speak well for them right now.
But there's not much of a shakeup of creator team.
Well, this is
there is. No, they're all different creative teams.
It looks good.
Yeah, they're all different creative teams.
So if this happens, this is what I did last time.
Yeah, but Thor's the only one that doesn't have a different creator.
So last time,
but it's just the writer, different artist. We don't know where Dodderman's going.
I was tired of this stuff. This is what I ended up doing last time. So, comic fans, if you love your comic book retailers, boycott. Do not buy new comics. Buy old back issues instead. So I would come
put a profit margin on that shit too.
Exactly. There's a better profit margin on older comics. So I would come back and buy. I bought almost an entire run because I would come back and buy Peter Parker's Spectacular Spider-Man when I stopped getting Amazing Spider-Man because of Brand New Day. So every month I would come in and I would buy 1 or 2 of them from Ryan, just like I would
Scott,
normally.
You and I are the same mind because I will turn around and I'm not getting anything Marvel in my box. I'll be going through the back issues like crazy, and I'll pick up my Chamber of Horrors or, Adventure into Fear or, Living Mummy, Supernatural Thrillers, anything to get my Marvel fix, and it's old school stuff. Just to get the complete runs because the new stuff is crap.
We do what we got to do. We have to support our local retailer and tell our people that, hey, make real comic books. Stop numbering them wrong. Stop. Just come on.
I mean, you already sort of stated, as long as they knock it out of the park, as long as these are really good books, I would rather they leave the old numbering, but realistically, I don't fucking care what the numbering is, as long as the books are good and I get excited for the stories in them.
Yes, the hard cut. This is Charlie actually perfectly encapsulates my argument of why they should not renumber. I'm not saying you're like a casual fan. The casual reader, the casual fan, the person buying the graphic novels, the new fans, they're going the Charlie's method. It doesn't matter what these issue numbers say to them. Number ones are not a factor in Charlie's purchase.
When you hand somebody Batman Hush as a recommendation,
it doesn't matter.
They don't give two shits that it was 608 to whatever it was. They are just going, what is a good Batman story? And bam, you hand them Batman Hush saying, this is a good Batman story. You like Jim Lee art.
The people that are going to buy the single issue are the people that care about the numbering. They don't want, most of them don't want it to be number one. So
the thing is like
that's the problem.
You know, it's one of those things where you're wanting to do this fresh take and all that stuff, and yes, renumbering is one of those PR things to boost the sales and stuff like that. But again, it's quality. Give a quality book. Let the book run for a while. You know, I wasn't, with Rebirth, I necessarily didn't have a problem with the renumbering because I felt like we had a fair amount of books out of the New 52. You know, you have 50 some odd titles for a decent amount of the books. Some of them had less, but you had a good chunk of material there, right? You relaunch. Okay. If, Justice League has been out for almost 40 issues now, but again, they're like, oh, well, that's plenty of issues. I'm like, you've been double shipping Justice League.
Yeah,
it's only been 2 years. Like there's this ideal number of issues and this ideal number of time. And those two kind of have to coincide for it to be okay to renumber a book.
No, I disagree. There's no ideal time. It's never. At this point, it's fucking never. They've done it too many times. The answer is never.
Well, that's the thing is
never again.
I don't mind having a Scott Snyder collection of 1 to 52 for the New 52. And if Tom King has a run that goes for like 70 issues, I don't mind a Tom King Batman run for 70 issues. And then they start over again.
I don't want
it. Sucks. It sucks.
That.
But the thing is at least it's not something where you look at a back issue bin and it's like, boom, couple issues, next tag. Boom, couple issues, next tag. You actually have these things that are spaced out where it shows like there's something going on.
If you were going to cancel a book for a significant amount of time and then it comes back naturally later, fine, and new number one is fine. But don't cancel a book with a new number one the week after. We're gonna move on to some questions here. I'm not touching that question.
What? No, you have to ask that question now.
From it's Scott Brock got the broken chair.
That's what I put. That's what I put there because that's Toby's seat. If you don't like that chair, you have to let me know.
The chair that's broken that pinches your legs.
I think it just pinches you.
That chair's the.
All right, I'm going to go to Costco tomorrow and I'm going to get more of these.
Cool.
That
and you'll pay me back
for it. Yeah, I didn't say that.
No, don't give me any money.
I'm not getting you a comfy chair.
D. Baroldi, our good friend,
whatever.
Our good friend on Twitter, he says, with all the upcoming FF collections, it seems like a new book is coming out soon. Who should Marvel put on it? Yes. If you haven't been paying attention,
Tom King.
There's like 40 Marvel FF trade paperbacks coming out in the next few months. So clearly they're building up for that Return of the FF book coming up as part of Fresh Start, I assume.
And the latest previews is they're re-releasing the FF Omnibus number 1 again for the third time.
Yep. It's a big book. That's one I have signed by Stan Lee, the first print.
Awesome.
Yep.
I got a first print at home also.
That's the thing I got signed by him.
What do you got, Stan? What do you got there, Charlie?
I have the 1 and 2. I missed the 3 though. Okay. I didn't get the 3.
I think they're all coming back.
I think you're getting a chance to get number 3 again.
Yeah,
so.
I have 1 through.
You have the comics.
I'm missing a couple I'm missing number 10, and then a couple.
You have the actual FF number.
Charlie,
1.
can you just smack him?
Backhand him a little. But who should Marvel put on it? I don't know. Donnie Cates? Donnie Cates? Sure, why not? He could do 7 books a month. No, please, God.
No, I'm actually just thinking Wade's had a good run on FF before.
No, I mean, the answer is Chip Zdarsky. 2 and 1's fucking amazing. He is the best writer Marvel has right now to write on.
Yeah,
to write
2 and 1 is fantastic.
Yeah.
Leave him on it.
Yeah.
Let him roll his story all the way through.
Yeah. Chip Zdarsky initially was like a comedy writer, does a bunch of goofy stuff. He's a real funny guy, but Yeah, he really is the best guy right now at Marvel to write the FF. Again, if you're not reading 2-in-1, highly recommend it. I mean, it's a Fantastic Four comic. Just Reed and Sue aren't in it, but it is the Fantastic Four. Great comic. And they're crazy if they don't make him the writer. I don't think anyone
first family. Bring back the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, I can't imagine anyone else taking it over, but Zdarsky at this point.
I'd like to see Tomasi write Fantastic Four.
I'm sure, but I don't want to lose him to Marvel.
I know, but I'm just saying.
He'd be great. He'd easily be the best option.
Which I think, because we got that Super Sons news.
It's not really news.
I mean,
it might be ending. It might be coming back. We don't know. Nobody knows officially. But I mean, yeah, it is ending, but we don't know if it's coming back with a new series, a number one. They're going to roll in something else.
Didn't they also announce Super Sons Hanna-Barbera?
Yeah, they're doing another series of crossover issues. So.
Okay.
As from Jordan, he says, has anyone been reading Moon Knight? I just got into him after the Legacy relaunch. What are some good storylines with him, and why isn't he used more often? Toby, I'll just say Bushman, of course.
Hell
that
yeah.
is your Toby's favorite Moon Knight story is anything involving Bushman. That's what he says. He says it all the time. Ask him. I don't know. Toby loves 80s Moon Knight.
The reason why Moon Knight is not used more often is because
he's had an ongoing series at this point, like longer than most characters. They never let that guy go too long without a 14 issues.
It's because certain guys can't write him. And the way that he's being written now, it's hard to use him with other characters.
Yeah, the Jeff Lemire series was
he's
awesome.
Batshit,
the Jeff Lemire was amazing.
He's batshit crazy. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So he cannot
he is
be...
Now.
Right, he can't be with other characters.
Yeah.
I mean, you could put... There's one character you could put him with, and it would be a comedy book, and then you would need Spencer to write it. And that would be Deadpool.
Yeah.
Deadpool, Moon Knight, Spencer.
Yeah,
It'd be pretty darn good.
Why do I think a number one of that's going to come out?
Moon Knight wasn't always crazy.
I would enjoy that.
Put him in that in the last couple of years,
Yes.
the last few years.
I have not caught up.
Fantastic.
I have not caught up with this run, but it's in my reading stack.
I read the first issue, the Legacy issue,
Yep.
and I was like, not like the guy picked up at a good. Like I don't know who's writing it. Is it who's writing it right now?
Yeah, I'm blanking on the guy's name. Venice is like Venus.
Is it the guy that wrote Old Man Logan and
No.
Iron Fist?
Is this the guy writing Iron Fist? I don't think so. Is it? I don't have the books in front of me. I'm not looking.
But like I enjoyed it, but again, I'm not really going. Oh, I need to pick up this book and read it.
Yeah. Keith Amaral, new Facebook user, thanks for joining the group, says, I must have been hallucinating during last week's podcast because it seemed like Bryce made a derogatory statement about X-Men Red. However, X-Men Red is really good, much better than Blue and Gold, and Bryce isn't supposed to be wrong. Well, Keith, let me tell you this. Bryce is wrong all the time. He just,
Wow.
too much of a man to admit it.
Wow.
Don't stop.
Right when he's not here.
Oh, that's why. That's why.
Stop,
Yeah.
Stop trying to channel Bryce right now. You are trying to channel Bryce.
What?
Oh, my God.
Yeah, Bemis.
You wouldn't believe it. That is so not true.
I don't. Did Bryce say something bad about X-Men Red? I honestly, maybe he just doesn't like the name of it. I'm assuming it's just.
It was a brief throw off of. I'm
assuming it's one of his top 10 X-Men titles released last week. So I don't know. Ask Bryce. Bryce, what's up? I thought you liked X-Men Red.
It'll just take him a little while on Twitter.
It's an X-Men book.
Hold on. A moment of silence for Bryce's comment.
Yeah.
All right, that's it.
That's it. We keep going.
Fortress of Comictude asks, any hopes for the new Spawn movie? No.
Pass.
No.
Hard pass.
When I heard there was a new Spawn movie, I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then I heard Tom McFarlane was like directing it. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Sure thing, guy. Good luck with that. That'll be fun.
I kind of feel like there's always a new Spawn movie, quote unquote, in development.
Yeah, I can't. No, just
I think if you asked him, there is always a new Spawn movie in development.
Yeah.
Are they going to have the countdown clock? Because that's all I want. Let's go back to that countdown clock.
Todd's going to fund it with his Spaceballs. So
Kyle asks, thoughts on Mark Miller. Okay, so first of all, thoughts on a Mark Miller comment. So my thought is fuck Mark Miller.
Yes, that's normal.
Thoughts on Mark Miller's comment of DC characters aren't cinematic and they're based around their superpowers. What? He says, I hate the whole DC characters are gods pretending to be human crap. That was Kyle saying that last part. I agree. Mark Miller's a moron. He's a hack who writes a bunch of shitty comic books to sell him his movies and doesn't care about comic books at all.
His comic books are really good.
Mark Miller doesn't care about comic books. Period. That's the end of that.
Ultimates was great.
Yeah, currently.
Yeah, Mark Miller in the last 15 years doesn't care about comic books.
I'll give you an example. Remember that 1985 book?
That's hot trash.
Don't know what you're talking about.
Ryan
was banned from
there is more
Miller World. So wait, you guys remember this, right? So the reason Ryan is mad is because he yelled at Mark.
No. I'm not mad because of that.
He internet yelled at Mark Millar. Mark Millar.
It's Miller and other people.
Millar on Millar World way back in the day.
Miller on Miller World, yes.
No, he used to call it Millar World as well.
I live on Millar.
It's Miller.
Was banned. And then since the ban...
Not just me. I mean, a whole lot of people were banned.
Since the ban,
we also
Ryan
yelled
has
at
been so mad.
The hell's the artist?
Who?
The hell's the artist?
On
Ultimates?
On Ultimates?
Yeah.
Hitch?
Yeah, Brian Hitch. Yeah. We yelled at him, too. He's kind of an asshole, too.
Ryan.
But that has nothing to do with it. Just nothing to do with it.
And
do you think Mark Miller cares about comic books? He doesn't.
I don't know. I don't read troll internet comments. And
what was it? Secret Service? Did that finish?
Oh, who knows / cares?
Moving on.
But no. The Tom King's the date night issue of Batman. There's more humanity in that than most comics from any other company ever published. Mm-hmm. Like. It's super weird.
Well, the thing is those two issues, the lead up issue to the date and the date issue, right, with the double date with Lois and Clark and Selena and Bruce.
Yeah,
like there was the lead up issue, and then there was that issue. Saying comic books aren't cinematic is just stupid. Like DC characters aren't cinematic is just stupid in the sense that, like, if you read those two books, Tom King and who was doing the art at the time? Because it keeps switching.
Was that Clayman?
I don't know if it was Clayman. Was it Jurt? It wasn't. It was. I want to say it was. What's our guy? The Harley cover.
No.
But keep going.
Anyway,
like that's cinematic. Like I could see it as I was watching an actual TV show. Like it felt cinematic.
Yeah. His whole comment of that they're not like human characters. I feel like that was never a thing until Grant Morrison's Justice League, in which that was his pitch for the series. And the Justice League prior and the Justice League after have not had that tone. That was a Morrison run, and it was one of the best runs ever of Justice League, but it was specific to his run. I don't think anyone else has really tackled the characters on quite that level. So Mark Miller's comments being 15 years out of date or 20 years out of date, it's about average for Mark Miller. So whatever. Don't read anything that guy does. Christopher asks, and I get
Chris Noyes.
No, this is a question. I take umbrage with part of this question here. He says everyone knows that Ryan Higgins loves that I love some odd characters like Milkman Man. Okay, odd. Speedball, sure. Or the Legion of Superheroes. What? The Legion of Superheroes is like some of the most classic comic characters ever existed. They're not weird or odd. They're like the most normal characters ever. Don't give me that look, Scott. The fucking Legion. Okay, I'm not talking about arm fall off boy here. I'm talking about the normal Legion of Superheroes. They're not odd.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like it's a Gold Balls.
They're one of the oldest comic book characters, like currently that still exist. They're like the first the Legion series.
The Legion was our team.
There is so much Legion stuff that is convoluted and twisted.
But
and
that's
there's like
every comic.
No, because there's like number one. There's a million of them.
Well, the thing is, the Legion,
all right, and
it's a million Batman at this point. Like,
well, right now there are. Thanks, Metal. But there's
okay. That's what the next comic's going to be called: The Million Batman.
But there's not only the Legion, But there's different timelines of the Legion also, so you're like, wait a second.
And there's the subs, and there's the Legion.
Is that old Sun Boy and
there's the Legion
young
Super
Stargirl,
Pets,
and why are they on the same team
Well, this
now?
is the thing is I like Legion has been around for so long, and the thing is it was always kind of it was always, to me at least from what I've read, it was always this kind of, they're very simple characters, right? We have, Starboy, we have,
Cosmic Boy,
Lightning Lad, like they're
Saturn
really
Girl.
just boom, boom,
I can
boom,
keep
like
doing
just,
this all day.
just basic, right? Really kind of basic.
What the
characters.
fuck are you talking about? Basic characters.
Yeah,
Lightning Lad
lost
shoots
me.
lightning, right?
Okay.
Well, yeah.
Like
The
that's
Saturn Girl shoots Saturn.
What does Black Lightning do?
shoots black lightning, baby.
Where are you going with this?
Yeah, where are you
It's just
going?
it's a large collection, and over the years has evolved into something that, Scott said, it's like there's so much of it in different timelines. I don't think anything's wrong with Legion
Okay.
myself.
Thank you for that.
But the guy might be thinking like they sound dumb.
Oh, he's wrong.
Oh, no, that's...
Legion are incredible. Anyway, the rest of his stupid question.
I just love how this question sparks so much discussion.
If you feel like they're dumb, you're wrong. If you feel like there's so much crap that you can't focus on any of it,
You're not
that's
wrong
fine.
about that.
That's fine.
No, you just have to read Legion of Three Worlds.
Oh, don't
and,
do that.
And then reread Legion of Three Worlds.
and then reread it.
And then you'll be okay.
Yeah.
All right, the rest of his stupid question.
His question is, what about the other conspirators? Any oddities you like but haven't talked about on the podcast in detail? So no Geoforce, no Tick. We've heard about that. No Savage Dragon down the end, Jim. I can't even think. What's Scott's oddball character?
It's got to be like Mimic or something.
You
like
don't really have any.
No, because it used to be Iron Fist. Now he's just straight mainstream.
Yeah.
But it would be, like, honestly, anytime there's any Wildstorm comic or a Wildcats comic, I just will buy it. All the time.
They're not really that odd.
Are they doing Absolute or Omnibus of Wildcats?
Yeah, they are, yeah.
Yep. Charlie? Out of these?
I believe I've covered them all.
Yeah, I just
No
don't...
Tick and no Hope. No Cable.
Hope and Cable are mainstream.
I'm joking.
Lady Death.
There was a comic called Corporate Ninja for
Lady
a while.
Death
I
is
really
not
liked.
mainstream.
I still collect Lady Death books.
I mean, they've stopped with Chaos, so don't you have them all at this point?
because Coffin Comics.
Nah, it doesn't count.
That does count.
You paying $80 an issue for those?
No, I'm not paying $80 an issue. No, I don't.
You've seen those books, right?
Yeah, the
They're like,
Kickstarters.
it's like 4 copies made. They're $90 a piece. It's like,
I don't buy those.
Who the hell's buying these things?
I don't
buy those.
It's like that madness that the Zenoscope puts out, where it's like, we made 14
Oh, let's not
of
go to
these.
Zenoscope. Oh,
They're
I don't do
$300
that
at our
anymore.
conventions.
I don't do that anymore
What?
either.
I think my oddity stuff, besides what I've talked about before, I think kind of the Odyssey diving I did was when 52 was out, when they had a lot of like odd characters as the main stuff. Like you had the female question, and you had
Renee
Plastic
Montoya.
Renee Montoya, and you had
She's amazing.
Plastic Man, and you had Booster Gold, and you had like all of these.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
I'm a Booster and Beetle fan. I'm
yeah.
a Super Buddies fan.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
I love myself some Booster, some Beetle, some Mary Marvel.
Did you get your 2-pack pop figures?
I did not get that, but I do play the Super Buddies in HeroClix as much as possible.
Plastic Man, Martian Manhunter.
Oh, I love
those are
Plastic
classics.
Man.
I love those.
Martian Manhunter. He's not a weird character.
No, he's normal.
Yeah, he's normal. Okay.
The Max. I like the Max.
Yeah, Max is a little, especially these days, hasn't been a new Max thing in so
Yeah.
long. Creeper's fine. Yeah, Creeper's cool.
Well, they keep reprinting the Max comics, though.
Yeah.
I just
Jumps publishers all the
Got all
time.
the hardcovers.
Our buddy Gage he just turned me on like a good 10 years ago maybe into the Suicide Squad. So I loved them for a while, but
They're mainstream.
they're mainstream.
At this
But I don't
point.
Stop
really,
liking stuff. It goes mainstream.
but I don't really like the new squad. I like the old squad. I'm a old school Squad guy. Boomerang, Cold.
Yeah, at this point, Captain Boomerang's as mainstream as half these characters.
I know.
Yeah.
Sad.
Well, they're digging deep for all these movies and TV shows. Let's see.
Right.
We've still got some time. We got a few more. JM asks, I like it when you guys tell stories about the comic store life. Any stories of customers who were ecstatic in finding a rare comic or key issues that you guys had? So we deal in back issues, but I generally don't deal in like really high grade crazy stuff. Jim and Scott down the far end here, they're your key chasers. They're your high grade guys. They're buying stuff, but it's generally not for me.
You want to know why Ryan doesn't have any stories about selling high grade books to customers?
Jim takes them
That's
all.
because when he gets them, I usually take them off the. I'm one of the first ones to take them off the wall and add them to my collection.
Yeah.
So
the
giant size X-Men #1, the Incredible Hulk 181.
We see them occasionally, but I don't buy big collections, and I don't go hunting like a lot of stores do. So we'll take stuff when we get it in, but it tends to not be like again, a lot of stores don't deal in it at all. But
you take it every time it comes in.
Yeah, sure. It just doesn't come in as much as it used to. We used to get stuff all the time. Now it's like, people just flip on eBay
sitting on stuff right now.
Yeah, or sitting on them.
It's so hard to hunt keys in stores. I've nitpicked
impossible.
Through so many stores back issues right now, and I'm really anytime I go to a different city,
shit.
I go all the time now.
Shit.
Yep, I go through Ryan's bins on a regular basis because they constantly restock them, and I'm looking for keys.
And the best is he'll be going through and I'll yell, Jim, it's not there. Shut up, just let me look.
Well, at this point, especially after we did the store move, I've been really conscious of going through and marking anything, even a minor key, any first appearance, any major story arc starts with tags, and that's actually helped, I think, sell some of these books a lot more than we used to, because people will be like, what's this random issue in New Mutants? Oh, it's the first appearance of fucking Demon Bear. Okay, that's a thing I recognize. I'll take that, even though it's only
People
$15 or something.
Demon Bear?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Invincible Iron Man, the
Demon
first
Bear's
appearance
awesome.
of Riri.
Yeah.
Soon to be Shatterstar's first appearance. You got the New Mutants '98 first Deadpool up there.
Yeah. I mean, something like the New like people recognize that, but yeah, once I started tagging those books, I think people really they actually look at that and they're like, oh, hey,
when
that's
did that
cool.
New Mutants '98 get up there?
Last week.
Nice. So if you're looking for a New Mutants '98, Comics Conspiracy in Sunnyvale announced
the ever famous first appearance of Gideon.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was
a shot at that was a complete shot in the dark at me.
That was a before the podcast conversation. The first appearance of Gideon. Oh,
also the first
Deadpool.
appearance of Gideon.
What's really great about those labels is we've also been able to do things like label the second appearance of Deadpool, which has caused
I
our
sell that book all day
we sell it all the time.
Yeah.
And what's funny is characters like Deadpool and Harley.
Yeah. Their second, third,
or fourth prints.
Yeah.
Well, Harley has her first appearance, but then she has her first DC continuity appearance.
Yeah.
And then because that sells so well, you have to go to her second appearance or third appearance in these books.
So. I actually should mark that New Mutants '98 first appearance of Gideon, and then ... Oh, and also Deadpool.
Yeah, you should.
Maybe I'll do that.
I think. All right. I think that's also Domino / Copycat's first appearance.
Oh, is it?
No, you know what you need to do? You just need to go Gideon's first appearance. Or ... and then if you could put a sticker of Deadpool's face just right there, and not even like
Deadpool
right Deadpool.
Emoji. Julian Titus asks, after 19 issues, I finally decided the Paper Girls just isn't for me. What's the longest you've stuck with a book that you weren't sure about? How long is Christopher Priest's run on Justice League going to be?
Oh God. Well, we haven't had that many.
Completionist. See, that's why I keep buying it.
You are a completionist.
So I just keep buying it.
We've stuck through some Green Lantern issues that we didn't like, but
buy it and it just goes in my box.
Exactly.
Not even reading it anymore. Just buy it in the box.
Do you ever get the question, have you read all those books? Yes, I've read all
some of them. Most of them.
The Priest run has been rough. Like, Justice League has been fair.
If they hadn't announced Snyder taking over everything, I might have dropped it, but I probably wouldn't have. But I might have. No, but I probably wouldn't have. But if I know a relaunch if I know a new creative team is imminent, I will just stick through it.
I stuck on Bombshells for the whole run.
Well, they're ending it now.
No, the first run.
They're ending it. They're ending the new run.
I know, but they were like stuck with it, going, all right, I can stick through it. And then they announced, oh, we're going to renumber and start over again. I'm like,
nope.
I'm off.
Done.
I have freedom. I am free.
Yeah.
I looked at those covers. Like, that's nice dots and art. And I walked right past
You
it.
Sell your first run. Some of those
It's on eBay right
some of those
now.
books are bank. Because tiny print runs and awesome covers. But yeah, I mean,
I was off Paper Girls like after issue 2.
there was.
I bought the hardcover and read the hardcover.
I'll drop and then come back for the new creative team. But for something like Paper Girls, it's like, yeah, you're on or you're off. So, like maybe Invincible, which I know is one of Julian's favorites. I got maybe 15 issues in. Walking Dead, same thing. Although Walking Dead is, I do intend to continue reading. I just haven't. I'm so far behind on Walking Dead.
Yeah, your trade reading sucks.
It's not even funny. I'm like, I am compendiums behind. Compendiums.
And those take 4 years to release.
Plural behind. Okay. First appearance of Gideon. There he is.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, it's very rare that I stick with the title.
That's some LD Exterminator love right there.
Well, at least he went to the Deadpool classics to look.
All right, Casey's got the big questions.
At least I didn't take the book off the wall, and I'm looking at the trade.
Casey's got the big question?
Yep, Casey's got the question. I'm just going to drop it and walk away.
Is this the one you didn't want to?
No. Casey's
What
got
was
the
the one you didn't
question.
wanna
If
do?
Wakanda has literal magic science miracles of healing, how did Zemo kill the king so easily in Civil War? Oh, there you go. Apparently, you just bring
Because he
anyone back
doesn't
from the
have
dead.
it because he was too old and he already gave it to his son because they took it away before the fight.
He didn't have a big enough chunk of it to
Jesus
shove in a wound.
Christ.
Good try, Scott.
Idiot.
You talking to me?
Nope.
Talking to yourself?
I thought he was so talking to you on that one.
Rand asks, my favorite item from any con was the signed poster from all the DC creators during New 52. It took 3 years and several Comic-Cons and other cons to get it. And he sent the picture, and yeah, there's a lot of signatures on that poster. That's pretty fucking awesome. Next to his signed Arrow and Flash posters, which I'm big fans of those as well. And it's that's a lot of DC statues and maquettes. Oh, look at that! Some Man of Steel stuff here. You got a real good movie appreciator here. I like your taste, Rand. You're awesome.
I like how you couldn't really.
What's
say
Rand's last name?
McNally.
Doubtful. Rand.
What is your favorite con item? That's his question. Dude, I love this poster, man. Rand, send me your home address.
So you can go get
swear
it?
I'm not going to come rob you in the middle of the night.
Jesus Christ, you're going to be like Jay and Silent Bob with a list and you're knocking on his door. I just wanted to see your stuff.
What's your favorite
There was no
con item?
denial. What
Favorite con- Charlie, what's your favorite con item?
I don't know. I don't have much.
Most recent?
I don't.
I mean,
see,
I'd say it's-
Toby would have like 2 rooms full of favorite con items. I don't get stuff from cons. I go for like autographs and signing and hanging out and experience more so
I
than
got something Scott would
picking
like.
up stuff.
That Lane got me. Last San Diego Comic-Con 2017, he got me the Wildstorm 25th anniversary book signed by everybody from Wildstorm.
Really?
Yes.
That's super cool.
Like $250 on eBay right now. Easy.
Wow.
Easy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That sounds really cool.
That's really cool.
I guess for me it would be my Legion of Superheroes. What's the Dark Side? Great Darkness Saga. I got that signed by Paul Levitz at like WonderCon when it was in San Francisco.
still up here.
Charlie, you attend a lot of cons. Pick something.
Yeah,
You attend a lot of cons.
Yeah,
So you
I
go to a
mean-
lot of
but he's not
cons.
like a con guy. Like I never
Well,
heard Charlie pick up a ton of random stuff.
Charlie has more
Well, I
experience.
buy all sorts of random stuff, but it's typically stuff that I dug through discount areas and or came across something that I knew was out of print and went, holy crap, I can finally put this back in my collection.
I got one.
Like, I got back from Gallifrey 1, the Doctor Who convention, and I got a box set with a Brigadier figure in it, and that made me happy because I didn't have a Brigadier figure yet. Like, I remember I got the JLA Avengers hardcover from a con after it had been out of print for a while, so I finally got that in my collection from a con.
I love those
From
finds.
Emerald City.
For omnibuses and hardcovers to find that one that's been out of print forever. Is
My
just amazing.
first Comic-Con, I picked up like a Hellboy PVC statue. That was also a good find. I remember going to like the booth, asking them how much it is, walking away, coming back a little while later, and them going, "Yeah, we quoted you the wrong price, but we'll give it to you for."
They used to do HeroClix at Comic-Con,
right?
Which they don't do anymore. Now they do it at Origins or
whatever. Yeah.
So I used to beg Charlie or whoever was Toby or whoever was going down to pick me up those. But my favorite piece that I got at a con, this is my question for you guys. If you can answer this, I'll buy you one of those $1 keychains over there.
Bring it on.
They're $5.99.
Who is the quintessential Silver Surfer artist?
Silver Surfer?
Silver Surfer.
I mean, I'm gonna say either Kirby or Ron Lim. They had the biggest runs.
Ron Lim.
Or Mobius.
I like Kirby.
So
I like Kirby also, but Ron Lim's the most current.
For me, it's Ron Lim because of the amount of work that he did,
right,
for an extended period of time, hundreds of issues. And he was at one of the cons. I think
he's at a lot of local cons. He's local,
right? He's a local guy, and nobody was talking to him. So I sat and I chatted with him, and he had his artwork, and I got a page, original art page signed by Ron Lim. It's one of the splash pages. It was, not cheap, but it was pretty awesome as a piece. So that's one of my favorite pieces in my collection.
That's cool.
That I picked up at a con.
Along the same lines, Ron Lim was at a toy collector show here in like 2004, and nobody was with him.
Right.
And he did a 11x17 Thanos sketch with the Infinity Gauntlet for me.
Nice.
And I still have that one. That one's cool too.
It's don't you know who this guy is, guys?
Exactly. Yes.
I've had better. I don't really get to go to cons, but I've had good. Like I've had some good hunting finds when I've gone on vacation. One of the memorable ones is finding you those Herculoids toys.
Hell yeah, Herculoids.
That you were like this random. Like you were like, I think you were like, I was like, I'm going to be going to shop. And you randomly said, I like the Herculoids. If you should find the Herculoid toys, I was like, all right. And then I called you up and said, yeah, I found these Herculoid toys. You're like, what?
Hard to find.
So
I liked Hawkman. He was one of my favorites. Love that dude. Space Ghost, Hawkman, and the Herculoids.
Hawkman.
Solid.
It's not Hawkman. It's
Hawkeye.
No, what's his name?
Birdman.
Harry Birdman.
Thank you. Birdman.
Yeah, it's Birdman.
Harry Birdman.
All right, we have a bunch of questions, but we're going to wrap up. But I have one. This is a very important question that we have to answer here. We got to get some advice. This is for Jesus. He asks, "My wife."
Oh shit!
There we go.
Here we go.
Hates
my
DC collection.
No.
She wants me to get rid of all my signed comics.
What?
Over 50 comics. And get rid of my posters as well.
I don't feel
everything.
Like this is okay.
Is it just DC or DC?
Well, I mean, he has taste, so yes, it's just DC.
Oh my god!
Anyone else have this problem? How do I combat it? Also, my collection is in the garage, out of her sight. Now we have people on all spectrums here of relationships, marriage, single, not, exes, divorce, and everything like that. Yeah, we're all over the map here, so I think we all have some advice. Now, Jim and Charlie, I'm going to start with you guys because you guys are married, but you also have some pretty fucking large collections.
Yeah.
Okay, Jim's is large because of the vast amount of shit he has. Charlie's is large just because it's big.
So, what?
Like
yours is small compared to Charlie.
You really think so?
So, what is your what is your level of where is the majority of your collection? What is the level of it outside of that designated area? And how much do your respective wives like or dislike what you have? Because obviously everyone's going to be different.
Charlie, I'll start with this one. Okay, so my collection is concentrated in one room in the house. It's in the library, and it's hardcovers and statues, props. That's where the Wolverine adamantium skeleton is in the corner.
Yep.
So that's the main room. Right next to that is the door to the garage,
okay.
which is where I store the comics and the statue boxes and everything. I do have a few pieces in my bedroom. I have a couple statues next to my side of the bed, and that's it.
Yeah.
And everything else is concentrated in those two rooms, just the garage and the and the library. So,
okay, now, I mean, does she care? I mean, is she getting your ass about that? Obviously she does, because that's just what happens. But
she does care about the amount of stuff that is super saturated our lives.
But she must love getting those large boxes I send her all the time.
Oh yes, she just loves.
I do such a great packing
every
job.
package that I get in the mail. Yes, and my wife has. I'm fortunate enough to have a wife that tolerates my vice.
Yeah,
so she's great. She's fantastic.
Charlie. I think, as far as I know, Nadia's into this stuff, right?
No.
But I thought she didn't. But not. Okay, let me rephrase that. I always got the assumption that she didn't really care.
She doesn't really care.
Okay, so that's.
The bottom line is she totally lets me kind of do what I want to do. I have my bookshelves. I add bookshelves and whatnot. But there are times when I'm like, "Isn't this cool?" And she's like, "But where on earth would you put it?" so there is sort of that stuff. Reality of I've maximized the amount of space in my house that I think I can devote to all this stuff.
Yeah.
And even then, I have stacks of it all over places where it shouldn't necessarily be.
Yeah, I'm living that lie too. Yeah.
So I'm just really blessed that way that she lets me continue to bring more stuff home.
And you have like a game room, graphic novel, like kind of office room that all your stuff is in. That's where you're gaming and everything, right?
The entrance to my house is where all my bookshelves and...
Oh, I thought that was a separate room.
No,
that's the entrance to the house.
That's the entrance to my house is my game room.
Okay, there you go.
Which he calls his game room.
Yeah.
And then I have more of it in the computer room, and then I have some of it over the TV.
Not to mention the stuff...
So you've got it everywhere.
Not to mention the stuff that you store for Toby.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, I yeah.
So, I mean, I have a lot of stuff. I don't think I have quite as much as you. I definitely not as much as Jim, and I don't think as much as Charlie. But we've always had either a 2-bedroom apartment or now that we on our place, multiple bedrooms. So again, lucky enough that I do have a room it's the guest room, but it's mostly my room, the comic room.
People are lucky to sleep in that room.
I would take out the bed personally, put like a Barca lounger and a little like reclining chair, right, and then have a whole other wall for shelving. But Leanne's not into that. Understandable. You want your parents going to sleep somewhere, right? They're not going to sleep on a carpet. But
get a fold up bed.
But we sort of have a line in the sand if it's like in the room is fine, kind of free to do what I want. Outside the room, no, not really. Which is fine because I don't want a house covered head to toe with statues and posters and stuff. No offense against anyone that does, but I did when I was a kid.
And
but
the thing is, I think
anymore.
Leanne and your taste at some like you and Leanne kind of have a middle ground with like Disney, and so you both kind of decorate the house with the Disney stuff.
We decorate. Well, we have one major bookshelf in there that's all the Disney stuff. The plan is to get a little more room in there because the plan eventually is to move the Disney stuff into actual like our bedroom. But again, it's not like... So
you want your room to be just straight Disney. You want to wake up in Never Neverland.
Yeah, it's not... But again, it's not floor to ceiling.
He wakes up to it's a small world.
I filled a shelf with toys and went, yeah, I'm good. I think I'm done. Like, I don't need anything else. I like all this stuff. I have like my Nintendo shelf. I have all my Amiibo, which have fortunately slowed way down. I have like my old consoles. I have that stuff there. And I'm like...
in your room, right?
Yeah, this is all in the room. I'm like, yeah, I don't really need more than this. The graphic novel section, that is difficult because I purged that thing crazy and I'm like, I am out of room and I don't know what to do. So that is something that I'm going to have to do something serious with.
Yeah, because you're 4 shelves?
2 for graphic novels? 2.
Yeah.
But
two bookcases.
Don't you have 4 bookcases?
I mean, I have like 8 bookcases, but only 2 are full graphic novels. Only 1 is full graphic novel, actually. The other is a mix of a bunch of stuff. I have another one with the game books and actual novels and
Wait, you
other
read those?
Occasionally.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't get that many graphic novels. Jim and Charlie and Toby, for that matter, you guys get the omnibuses. I mean, I have a bunch, but I don't have nearly as much as you guys. But my comics are all in the garage. I have 3 large now, industrial storage shelving units like we have here at the store, and that's where I put them. So that is significant space, but it's in the garage. It's out of sight. I keep it well organized. Jesus, my it depends on.
We don't get to say anything.
No, you do. But what I'm trying to say is, some people have a little more of a
flexibility.
Yeah, if she is like, I don't want any of it anywhere. I mean, that's kind of brutal. I don't know.
Yeah.
If you have a clean, organized section in the garage of your stuff, I mean, I don't see what the problem is. If you've got 4 rooms of it and it's flowing out of the windows, okay, yeah, that's a problem.
Well, I mean, like he was talking about like posters and stuff. I'm like,
I still have a shitload of posters. They're just rolled up and stuck in my garage. I don't do anything with them.
The funny thing is, a lot of times if you just get it framed nicely, it just it can transform one of those things.
Fine, yeah.
Yeah, but I got no advice to give somebody because, there's no good answer.
I can tell you my situation, but as far as your situation goes, Jesus, you're going to have to decide, and I'm trying to pick these words very carefully.
Well, no. Here's it. Again,
you're going to have to determine what's more important, and at this point, if you can come to a compromise to keep your collection, but keep it contained. And that way, it's out of sight. If it's out of sight, out of mind, then hopefully she's okay with that.
If you've got, a couple long boxes and they're clean and organized and they're just the plain white boxes.
A couple long boxes. That's cute.
No, that's what I'm saying. Right. No, that's what I mean. If you've got like 100 long boxes and 10,000 statues and all this shit, then I don't know what the hell to do. If you have
stop looking at my garage.
If you have a couple long
Wait,
boxes,
you have a garage? I thought it was just a wall of stuff.
They're nice, they're clean, they're organized. I mean, take an honest look at your collection and think, does this look okay? If they look nasty and ratty, hell, send us pictures. I will gladly tell you if your collection looks like shit or not, and I'll tell you what to do to fix it. But if it's nice, organized, clean, in long boxes, boxed up, put away, looking, in perfect condition, not a bunch of posters stuck to the wall. If it's posters and poster tubes rolled in some sort of portfolio binder. If you got a bunch of signed comics, again, if they're hanging all over your house, take them down, put them in a binder.
Keep them to, if you've got a collection and you've got space, you need to keep it to a confined space.
Yeah.
Period.
So Jesus, just real quick.
But if you've done all this and she still wants you to get rid of them,
we don't have an answer.
I don't have an answer.
Then you need to get rid of her. She's not.
Well, the thing is,
of course, I am single,
other option,
and that could be why.
The other option.
Scott, what's your collection look like?
I have an extra room, and in my extra room is busts, hero clicks, comics, comic posters, just stuff. But I also have in that run. I used to have this is pre Lance Armstrong getting busted, like Lance Armstrong stuff, because that meant a lot before you knew who he was, and then you're like, fuck you, dude. I'm sticking to comic books because at least they don't change who you are all the time.
They just change costumes.
Well, I know, Brock,
I've had to move.
You've moved. But you also, with your statue stuff, you keep a lot boxed up and you kind of rotate in and out. And
yeah, so currently for me, I have my own room. So one wall is 4 IKEA bookshelves. They're filled with trades and hardcovers. I have my DVD Blu-ray collection on there. I have books on there, statues. It's a hodge. It's got a lot of similar. You have other stuff on yours.
Yeah.
In my closet, I have the long boxes of Purge that I haven't been able to sit down and purge because just I moved a lot, and a lot's been going on in my life in the past few years, so things started to get separated. Majority of my collection is in the garage, in drawer boxes. They're not clean boxes. Like they're not brand spanking new or look fancy or on shelves, but they're up off the floor and they're fairly uniform. They don't look like complete garbage. But there's a lot of stuff that I have also, like you said, boxed up in the loft.
If you're rocking the same long boxes you got in like 1987, you have replaced those.
Yeah, no, I have.
They're yellow at this point.
I just went through that. I've moved from.
Thank God, you finally got rid of your 1987.
I moved from Guam to Hawaii to Texas to California to Missouri to Virginia. These boxes showed wear, trust me. And this is the first year I actually replaced all my long boxes with short boxes. So 200 short boxes later.
Yeah.
And I'm not over exaggerating. That's a fact.
That might be why your wife's mad.
She's not mad. But some of that's to your blame. But replace the old boxes with the new boxes. Get decide if you want to go short boxes, long boxes, and again, it will clean up the area and help you when it comes to taking care of your collection.
Yeah, and I'm totally 100% serious. Send me pictures. I'm more than happy to tell you what the best way to clean up is, if that's the case. We do it all the time.
Brock and I did a straight cleanup of my stuff.
Oh God, yours is.
Well, they looked nice. They were just out of order.
Yeah, they were just out of order because I hate you.
You love me.
No, well, your reading order is an example of what
I never put my comics in order after I read them. I just put them back in the box.
So he has a reading order of weeks, which is a pain in the fucking ass to go through, especially if something was delayed.
You can't find anything.
You would try to get into a rhythm, but he doesn't read in the same order, so there's no rhythm there. And then it's like if there's a few month hiatus, you're like, where the fuck did this book come from?
Right, if I fall behind, I'm like, this title's not very good.
And then you get a clump.
Then all of a sudden,
you get a clump of them, and you're like, mother.
You only get the clump if it was not a good title.
I should have charged you more.
So Jesus, we all wish you good luck, and I'd love to know what the final result is on this one too.
Yeah, good luck, buddy.
And if you're going to get rid of a bunch of signed comics, I'll give you Jim's address, and you can ship them to him.
Whoa.
Wait, do we just have like a Dear Conspirators segment?
Charlie, you were...
I was just going to say, and as I think we've all stated at one point during this, if you haven't done a sort of go through your collection and purge the stuff that you don't necessarily need to hold on to, that's a good place to start.
Yeah.
Show that you're willing to give up some of the stuff that doesn't hold significance to you.
Well, I think that's also healthy if you're going through and you're weeding, you're I'm done with this, or like, I know Charlie, you go, I like this statue style and design more so than my old one. I'm going to get this one to replace the old one, and then you get rid of the old one. You don't hold on to it.
Charlie has a very good system. If he gets a new statue, he gets rid of an old statue.
You don't have that.
I don't have that.
I don't have that system either. I got some nice Louis Royo statues.
The old statue usually becomes a custom statue at that point for me. So
yeah, but then it's kind of a new.
It's kind of a new statue. You can go back in rotation.
Yeah, my general rule just typically has to do with character, meaning like I'm not going to have more than one Spider-Man statue.
How many cable statues?
But you have more than one cable, right? You have more than
How many
one
cable statues you got?
Well, I have the one right now, but I have another one on order, and I'm not replacing the one I have. So
Number one cable fan right here.
I got three cable statues. I win. I'm the cable.
No, you just buy and hoard statues. That's not number one cable fan material.
I don't hoard statues.
Really?
No, it's collecting.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to this episode.
What?
We hope you helped.
Wait, hold on.
Get off your iPhone and realize we're doing with the podcast.
Wait a second.
We're done.
What about random picks?
Okay, Brock. Son of a bitch. We're running along.
Yeah, are we at 2.5 hours now?
Not quite, but we're getting there.
But
we're getting
like
there.
our long-winded
Next
podcasts.
week, we'll do random picks next week.
Say that
we're
every
way too
other
long.
week.
And then I do it next week eventually.
No, you don't.
We have to thank our good friend, Albert Soy, in his app, Canby.
Plantain. No,
that's the old one. That's the old one.
Albert,
Make sure you jump on there.
Albert would probably recommend to you. This was where you're supposed to take it, Scott.
Make sure you jump on
you've lost
and check that out. You can buy gift cards and
Canby app is pretty awesome.
Prepay options. Scott's been on one of our guys to help and test that. So check that out. Give him some test. Julian Titus has
pants.
The Nerds Without Pants podcast at pixelbit.com.
Pantsless.
Check out Nerds Without Pants. on Pixelbit.
No plans.
Ryan Hess has Blowhards, the video game podcast,
Triad?
which is at blowhards.libsyn.com.
Oh, who's the Jody Cannon?
Libsyn. Jody Lawson.
Jody Lawson at the
has
Triad
Canon, the Triad Comics Anthology at triadcomicstudios.com. Check out their comic books on there at triadcomicstudios.com. Also, our good friends Sam Shea, Craig Anderson, and Joe Duff, thank you guys very, very much for your backing on patreon.com/comicconspiracy. Next week's will be the first episode of the month, so we'll thank a bunch of our backers on there. If you want to jump on, you still got a day. You still have one day.
We're going to have some Patreon exclusive content, too.
To jump on. Yeah, go check out that. We're due for a Bryce Briefly soon. And
nobody wants that.
Yeah, everybody does. What are you talking about?
Especially me.
No haters.
ComicConspiracyPodcast.com. That is our website where you can find all our previous episodes, as well as Geekbox.net and on iTunes. Please rate and review us. It always helps. The Comicspiracy at Geekbox.net is where you can send us some long-form questions. I actually had a couple, but we ran way over today.
You never go to the long-form emails.
Digital
long-form questions?
Occasionally. Digital.comicsconspiracy.biz. That is where you can go buy your digital comics from us. These are comics you can get on your iPad or your phone. You should go on there. We get a nice cut every time you pick up something on there. ConspiratorBrock.com. That's Brock's blog and video pull list.
I know that guy.
The Wanderers in the Fourth Dimension podcast. That's Charlie's Doctor Who podcast. They were just at Gallifrey 1. I'm sure they talked all about it. As well as Etsy.com/shop/LeanneHillart.
That's your wife's?
That is my wife's Etsy store.
Yeah.
She got a new Black Panther. Did she do a commission? Or?
She did. No, we got Black Panther. Yep, she did a Black Panther. She did a Spider-Man piece recently. So, yeah, do some new art. Oh, I should also mention you should go to ComicHub.com and sign up as a customer. You can select Comics Conspiracy as your store of choice, and you can. Once you're connected to us. You can actually pre-order comics from us.
I get such emails from you now.
You got a couple. Did you get that Wolverine one?
I don't know if I got that Wolverine email.
I think you got a Wolverine one.
Really? I don't think so.
So yeah, there's you'll get some email or you'll get some emails. You'll be able to order stuff from us through the store for mail order or for in-store pickup if you're local. So it's like.
Which Stefano can attest to the packing skills.
Yeah, of course. It's a great way to, again, if you're not local, it's a great way to pre-order comics directly from us. A lot easier than going through a previous catalog, a lot easier than just calling me and emailing me a list. You can check out the app and the website. It's really good. We picked up a ton of new customers from this. So check it out, comichub.com. We're all on Twitter. I'm Ryan Higgins. Ryan. Brock is Brock Sager. Bryce is Larson Bryce. Toby is Toby XI. Charlie is Incendian Chaos. Jim is LD Exterminator. Scott's not a. Oh, you're back on a little bit.
I'm on. Is this Twitter we're talking?
Yeah.
About? I believe I'm Cia Shea.
Yeah. I actually did see you post once or twice recently.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Scott. The store is Comics Con Store. Go ahead, the store on there. I usually tweet under my own account, but occasionally, like when I'm an hour late for work today, I tweet on the store account. Marshall was sick. The shipment was super late. It's been a hell of a day. The Geekbox Comedy Button, Manga Machinations, and Infinite Binge. Infinite Binge is not a podcast. It's a YouTube thing. Go watch that. Everything else is a podcast. You can listen to it in your ear holes. Go check out those podcasts in our little network and go rate and review them, support them.
Do that.
That's all I got. We're going to
pre-order Action Comics number 1000 from us.
You can do that on Comic Hub.
My random pick is X-Men Red.
Cool. Number one.
Because Bryce wasn't here.
Number one X-Men Red
I need
fan.
a shout out to X-Men Red. I haven't read it yet.
Obligation met.
There you go.
Talked about a random pick.